how this connects to presence and the presence piece, i.e. power of now, Eckhart Tolle, just presence awareness, like being in the now. And I was thinking about this yesterday, and or like feeling into this yesterday, as far as like all of this love and compassion stuff that we talk about, and how in any given moment, like we can find love. We can find love for hatred. We can find love for despair. We can find love for just existence itself. And it's that ability within to tap into that unconditional loving heart, which truly is the healer, the guide, and the transformer within. It is that all-containing presence of love that allows existence to exist, allows creation to create. It's like that divinity elixir. Ultimately, it's like the base tone of eternal life is this love. And that's how I see the constructed reality as a hologram and or the system. It's actually still created out of love. It's still born out of love. It's still this expansive, creative journey. We just, you could say, in a soul's evolution, part of the disparity of darkness or fear and separation is actually par for the course of a soul's expansion journey. Again, if we didn't have polarity, if as a being we weren't able to bear witness to violence and cruelty, then we wouldn't learn the other. We would be able to so viscerally learn the other, which is more powerful, which is all containing, which allows life in its creativity to take its form and also to express its due diligence. Souls, you know, attacking or reprimanding or trying to judge that experience regardless of our perception. Oh yeah, and this was due to a reaction and reactivity situation in my own reality, and then I realized that in the truth of love, we truly don't try to fix. So it's ultimately, anytime we're trying to fix a situation, it's actually usually the pain body that's being pulled into a situation out of habit, and of course karma. And until we can recognize the distortion in our willingness to help, this is subtle stuff, you guys. So be mindful of our reacting to language versus like you know, the subtlety of where our actions are actually coming from. And in presence, oftentimes we'll notice the truth is that we don't need to react. We don't need to become invested in someone's volatility and moods and someone's reactivity and what have you. And really truly, only when we're reacting is it that we are being triggered, and then we're falling into the trigger based on past patterning. And so often is the case that we are in our, usually in our relationships, we are actually acting out these three constructs, which I've taken, or yeah, I saw this in a Teal Swan video, and then recently I've subscribed to somebody who I saw her, she didn't watch any videos, I just saw the titles and felt her resonance from pictures and was like, yeah, I dig that, I dig that. And this was about the whole, how we tend to act out the hero, the savior, the martyr, the victim, that we tend to almost embody these archetype codependent relationships. And I only witnessed it then. And then there's that other one called like the tragic heroine, and I noticed that there's like this hero martyrdom polarity, and then of course villain and the savior polarity, or the villain and the saint polarity. And so we're all, you can observe yourself, we all are in some, perhaps more subtle than others, but often acting out. And this is to do with our childhood programming. We have to understand that for most of us, our childhood programming is ultimately still in certain senses connected to lineage and ancestry. It's also connected to karma. The people that we invoke, the people that we attract and co-create with, i.e. the family dynamic, the repetitive relationships that we're recycling, those are the karmic imprint. Those are the childhood karmic imprint that we've taken with us from various lifetimes, right? So hence the here now peace presence is that we are as a generation now disentangling and or uncreating all of these many past generational cycles based in fear, separation, and oppression. And then we're up leveling a generational mass so we can up level the whole and into a more even playing ground or even playing field. That's part of me and also love being connected to New Earth Project and various others, new paradigm community endeavors, is that there's retreat centers and venues and land opening up all over the world for congregation and healing. And it has nothing to do with profiting en masse. It has nothing to do with hoarding the world's resources. It has everything to do with healing the being as a being that we are, the human being, and then acting from that healed space of sovereignty, spiritual and material sovereignty. It's one and the same. As we claim our spirituality, as we claim spiritual sovereignty, we then begin the process ultimately of atonement to then embody the wholeness of our beingness in form, which then is the actualization of the light body, the Ka, as it's expressed in the Magdalene manuscript. This is through ultimately fully embodying the truth of our sexuality and the power of our sexuality as well as creative beings, as beautiful creative beings. And ultimately we yoke the benevolence of infinity and eternity through the knowingness of our own spark, through the knowingness of our own creative portal as an infinite soul, as an eternal soul. A soul just is simply the sun. It's a charged energetic center of light. And all of us have just connections to different stars and different planets based on our own soul's evolution, but also a geometric structure, like the sacred geometric structure of our being, or rather the sacred geometry of our beingness is like that divine blueprint, which is full spectrum, and also like the power of our creative potential made manifest in form. It's like a delayering process, and yet there is a linearity in as far as how we can conceive this reality, because that's what it's designed for. We've designed it to be this way. That's part of the miraculousness of this realm, is that we're perceiving infinite, we're perceiving and moving in this linearity timeline, and yet within that perception we're the container of the totality. Mandala. That's right. We are the mandala. The effect is that which we see. The creative potential is that which we feel in connection to the dark void, right? In connection to the infinity. Loops are really only to see things from any different perspectives as possible. Those in denial of their creative potential still limit themselves, but it's not necessarily, that's part of the piece of the light worker community, is that we're here to share, grow, and shine for other, so that the intuitive such a way that we more and more beings are enlightening themselves, and that enlightening process is actually vibrational, affecting the mass. So nothing needs to be understood in an intellectual sense. The vibrational field of the humanity is what's encouraging and permeating the awakening through the whole. So again, it's like taking the pressure off, relaxing more, loving more, dropping in more, feeling more, surrender more, have faith more, trust more. It's that continual withdrawal from that external fight, from that conflict, from that external projection, and hooking into the belief of that projection as truth, as real, rather than the real being the experience of form from within. And then what we project out, and that is every single one of us it's our responsibility, isn't it? And responsibility doesn't have to be a negative thing. Responsibility is only a negative thing when we perceive it as a burden rather than a gift. And ultimately, responsibility is the gateway to freedom because it is what owns us into the dominion of our beingness. And it's mastery, but mastery is not an egoic construct. Mastery is a full presence in the field, right? Oh man, yeah, right. Like the ancients and the lineages hell was hugely coming through, and interestingly as well, I feel that the polarity of the density of the ancient healing, like the darkness and the density of the actual physical healing of our ancestors, and yet how on like another level they're also here supporting the process, right? Like they're here in the spirit form supporting the process for us in the here now to continue on the journey, right? Because they're, oh, see, I can feel emotion. Because our our here now is actually like healing the ancestors as well. It's healing for the ancestral lines. And so they're here with us, kind of like, like encouraging us to keep going, because what we're doing in the here now is actually healing all the pain from the akash. Essentially, it's like stripping it's like washing the earth field clean as much as we're being washed clean and our ancestors are being washed clean. So the ones that are still present in the spirit realms here now supporting are here supporting us in this clearing. And so they're in our clearing, the ancestors are actually embodying more of their truth and then like basically vibrating higher in the astral planes. Hence they can do better work for us and us them. And then again it becomes this infinity loop but on a higher level. Hi Elliot, how are you? Yeah, so I guess the finding the love for me is always like the the paradox of unity, of how we can find love in even the darkest moments. And that's something I always want to share. It's when I'm in these deep profound emotional storms, it's like, yeah, even in the depths of the feeling of despair, beyond the despair there's still this loving presence holding space for the alchemical transformation. Part of the discipline, of course, is that we detach from any divisive thought form. We detach from externalizing our feelings, as in we can see perhaps a thought form attached to an uncomfortable sensation, but we are diligently saying, I release this thought form, I release the connection point, and I just let feelings be processed in my heart space. So I know that that's not the truth. The truth is not that I am feeling blah blah because of so and so. The truth is that I'm feeling this because it's already been created. So it's now my moment to uncreate it, to feel it, to process it, to release it, and to go deeper into my truth and knowing in the light of my awareness. So I heal conflict and I heal divisive action and thought to come into the unity space of heart and love, i.e., the love so infinite that this kind of love has love for all of creation, certainly on this field, all of creation, no matter what. But of course, we're talking about Earth and Earth's activities and actions, and we talk a lot about the duality in the blame and attack culture, right? Thanks, Elliot. Thank you. I appreciate that. See, I have like the emotion. The emotion is there. I wasn't feeling emotion, but we are all the love. Is true vision of truth and truth. Like I probably do it too. But like we talk about truth like it's this thing that can be like, here, the truth, here, like that can be held or grabbed. Me too, emotion. Yeah, and like to me, like the truth is like undescribable Like there's no words that can encapsulate truth, as in like the truth shall set you free. Hence why we shan't be attached to any of the words or anything, because like the truth is like this, just this all containing knowingness. True. I mean, yes, that's great. That's a fantastic description. Like, it's truth is subjective in some ways and objective. I think the capital T all knowing is like beyond, and then the way I interpret that comment is like there's like our own personal truth, right? And like I don't want to have to compare my truth to your truth, because I can't, because my experience is different. So there's like truth, unique truth, subjective truth in my experience, and then there's like this totally objective, all-knowing, all encapsulating, beyond the beyond, any word, feeling, thought, whatever. There's this all encapsulating beyond, yes, vision of truth. You feel me? Yeah, right? So it's like my truth is my own, and then you guys have your own truth, and that's to do with your soul and your life and your awesomeness, right? And experience of the other. Yeah, and then that which is the purity of divinity and is pretty much undescribable and undescribable. Yeah. So the love is always there, because the presence is always there. Mostly we're just like addicted to thinking and trapped in thought, and weirdly addicted to our pain body drama. And the thing is that I witnessed this in myself as well, but the drama, like, we get high on it. I remember witnessing this when I got stranded in Bali a couple years ago, a year and a half ago. There was a volcano that erupted, and a bunch of us foreigners got stranded on the island. And I remember like the energy. I travel so like en flow that I just assumed I'd be flying back, and people were like, "But you know, Molly, there's a volcano and they've canceled a bunch of flights." And I'm like, "Yeah, blah." And then of course I show up at the airport and my flight is canceled, and there was a little moment of, "Oh, okay, right, sure, okay." And then of course I noticed was that like everyone's up in arms, everyone's starting to get crazy and panic, and I noticed myself going into the panic, and it wasn't, more than anything, I thought, this doesn't feel good. And then I was also thinking, is getting panic gonna help? No. So I remember just kind of going away from people in the airport and just sitting on my bag. I remember messaging a few people saying like, I'm gonna need help, because also I don't travel with, I never have like influx loads of cash. So I budgeted certainly for that journey, and I literally had enough money to get me back. So I messaged a few people to be like, I'm stranded in Bali and I need help, because I don't have travel insurance, because I also tend to not buy into insurance policies, because I don't buy into insurance typically as a construct, if you get what I'm saying. So I had no travel insurance. I basically lost my hundreds of pounds worth of it, and I was stranded. And I thought, okay, I, one, need money to hopefully buy another ticket out of here, and two, I need some cash to help survive me in the days that I have to wait to get my flight back. And again, just through the grace of divinity, I started to get random strangers on the internet, random strangers on Facebook, friends as well, family as well, started sending me money. And I had most of which I paid back. Thank you. That's so cool, Elliot. So most of these people sent money in good faith, saying, I'm sending this as an internet friend. I'm expecting this money to be returned. And then I had family send like a good chunk of cash, like almost £800, which I didn't have to pay back because my family is kind of like our money is all each other's money. And so certainly that's how I operate. Maybe not everybody in my family operates, but I operate like when you're in my posse, like when you're part of my crew, I'm like, right, Elliot? Insurance is just a big scam. Anywho, when you're in my posse, it's like my money is your money. Except if you try to take advantage of me and then you get cut. That's pretty much the new rule that I've got, and I can usually sniff out when somebody's gonna take the piss. You get one strike, and then keep manipulating, you're out. That's my new rule, two-tap rule of generosity and benevolence, you know? So yeah, so basically I got like probably about £1,500 worth of money being sent to me. And then not only did I leave the airport, but I ended up, and this is how I caught the drama, is that like I left the collective energy space of the airport and I went to an area called Seminyak, which is not too far. And I was there about 2 more days because I was traveling with Katie Finch, you're the zero goddess. So she was also delayed or canceled flight, but she's like super on it with all the like travel insurance-y stuff. So that was interesting. I got to watch her nail it, like as far as like get the money back and like get all sorted. But we supported each other. She helped me out as well, so that was also, you know, by the grace of God. And then she left. So hello Emily. So so she left, and of course at that moment I had a little bit of a like, oh shit, now I'm really alone. Oh, blush. So Katie eventually got a return flight, or she was flying somewhere else. I think she was like, I sure did I always take the adventure route, like straight up. Um, so, so Katie left, and then also I could basically like I can remember walking through Seminyak and hearing these like Australian people or blah blah be like, I know I don't know what accent I'm doing, but like just their energy, like they're like, I'm stranded, no, like kind of serious, but like there's just this weird energy of like, I don't know, like getting high on the drama of like, I'm stranded, I don't know what to do. Like, I guess I was just like hearing and vibing off of all these, again, privileged traveler folk of like, oh, please. Like, you're stranded in frickin' Bali, big deal. You know, like it's not. And I'm like, you know, none of us make the most of the opportunity, stranded for a reason, right? So basically, so then Katie is off, and there's this little sinking part of me like, oh shit, I'm proper alone, no. But then I could feel the drama, and I just thought to myself, whatever, somebody, one vision or somebody just mentioned, like, take advantage, like, take the opportunity. I had, by the graces, people send me cash. I know Bali well enough to be like, right, I don't want to be in a city with a bunch of stressed out traveler folk. I need to get out of this energy vortex and just calm down. And I'll take advantage of being in Bali for a few more days, which I did. So I went to my favorite bit of the kind of southern peninsula, just not far from Uluwatu, like Padang, that area, Balangan. So I went down. I remember I booked a hotel for or like a bed sit, whatever. I think for like $9 a night, which the people gave me money, and I had enough money to book this place, and I managed to book a scooter for like super cheap. And I got my $9 for like 2 or 3 nights, right? And I essentially just kept checking flights, and like I was having all these banking issues, so I remember sending one flight. Oh, and I put basically so like limited with my budget as well that I was like, like, what should I do? And I remember putting a call out on Facebook, and I had an A-fester like from 3 years ago, my A-fest amigo, randomly who like met at a conference basically, but she saw the message. She lives in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, and I was like, hey, anyone in Singapore, anyone in Kuala Lumpur, because I can get a flight off of Bali to one of these places, but I didn't have enough money for accommodation. So Susan, my A-Fest friend, responds to my message, says, hey, I'll pick you Kuala Lumpur. So I end up booking my flight to KL. She picks me up. She puts me up for a night. It was amazing. She fed me. She paid for everything. She drove me around. She drove me back to the airport because I got a flight out of Kuala Lumpur the next day. And I literally had just enough money to book that final flight back to London Heathrow. It is amazing, isn't it? And that's all in my awareness. I had a pretty good time, and I didn't get swept up in like the craziness of it, right? Of like the like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Oh my god, this is so scary. And if anything, I was like, it's an adventure. I'm like, divine God universe, like as in, we have in any given moment, we have a choice to find the love and be present, or to get swept up in like, like just the craziness and the insanity of perpetual stress in this life, which again, our yoga, our meditation, our spiritual practices are just helping us to be connected so that we recognize that we are the one. We're the one creator of our own reality. And because I am one, and you're one, and you're one, you're one, and we're one having a experience. And those of us who feel that can unify in that co-creative existence, versus those that are perpetually pushing against, blaming and attacking, complaining and bitching and moaning, right? It's like, good, it becomes tiresome, right? Life like love, life is like love or mystery, right? Straight up, right? Same reflection. What will your mirror see? Right. I know. And that's like, for me, this trip was now fully letting go of like past history, or her story, past just like my past. That's it. It's so tiresome, right? And then most of us here can just put our hands up and be like, I get it. I've been there. I've done that. I remember that. I know that. I know how it feels. I know what it kind of looks like. I know what it projects. I know what it brings back. And I'm kind of bored and tired of it because it's painful. That kind of energy of like the gossiping and the complaining and the bitching and the moaning, to me, that is what inevitably leads us to eventually awakening, and then eventually our core wound, which a lot of us are either holding space for, or we've been through it, right? Are you going back to Bali? I go to Indonesia like every year. It's a little bit of a spiritual home for me. I was guided to write my book in Bali, and then I was guided back the following year to establish Team Love, like really establish I guess the foundation of the movement, which are the four pillars, or sustainability, spirituality, and freedom, aligning with the zero waste, the veganism, or simplifying spirituality, and then unplugging from mainstream media. So we begin to clarify our mind and take right action for the good of all. And then in 2018, I went back and I did a crowdfund. I crowdfunded just over £1,000 for a family in Lombok that I met in 2017. I went back at the end of 2018, produced and completed Spirituality Simplified, Alta Love's third Be the Change online course. And then I also went and delivered the money to Safawi and his family. And ultimately, based on that connection, it's my absolute intent to continue to support Safawi and his community, because he's got loads of brothers and sisters, and they were all, this whole community in Sangigi and Lombok was destroyed basically in the earthquakes last year, right? So, stop it, you're making me blush. So yeah, so I went back and delivered the money. Safawi reaches out to me regularly. He's lost his job. Again, these are the people that ultimately I do what I do for, because I recognize that there's just so many people on the planet that don't have anything. We bitch and moan over here with our 2 cars and our nice houses and our insurances and our mortgages. I'm like, oh my god, life is so much shit. And I'm like, you should travel and see that there's actually people who have fucking nothing. And like, and our countries like go around the world and oppress people, and we can sit in our fucking whatever. Anyway, there's me ranting, right? But to me, all to love is the kind of new paradigm of pioneering equanimity on this planet, right? Hi, Andrea. Good morning. How are you? So, All to Love has a kind of connection to a community in Indonesia that I have every intention of having a certain amount of profit always go to the communities that I randomly am guided to that just don't have any. So like profit from All to Love goes to Safawi in the community in Lombok, and then just as a spiritual home. And then Morocco for retreats, and then Karen from Clear Retreat, her and I are looking at Kauai Retreat, and ultimately up-leveling the manifestation of these sort of healing centers and these new paradigm healing places, right? Revel. I want to say Revel, Capitular, but I could be wrong for some reason. Oh, I'm okay. Love to you, Emily. I so appreciate your channel as well. I feel very much a resonance with Emily and the like love heart vibration, like the sensitivity, sparkly eyed. It's really beautiful. And you shared something about like it's not nice or it's not kind to attack, and I'm just like wowzers, right? And yet it's actually quite affirmative, just to have other like minds and hearts that are like traversing this, putting themselves out there and then having those experiences and just helping each other out basically through sharing the experience rather than trying to like be right or know it all. Because like isn't it one of those, you guys, like the more you know the less you know, or whatever, you know what I mean though, right? Or like just the more you experience the less you actually know anything at all, and you're just like, what is life? Huh. Yeah, I think that's it today. Right, Andrea, yep. That's kind of one of those things, and then that's the polarity of like detaching from the other pain body, right? Ooh, ooh, I love that comment. Not knowing is the greatest intimacy. Oh, oh, that is juicy. I'm writing it down, Laksh. Oh, that is stunning. Not knowing is the greatest intimacy. Oh, doesn't that frickin' feel? It is! Oh my god, Elliot, I feel you now. I think we're like very similar resonances, right? You are loved. Kind of sexy. That's what I'm getting. Like the not knowing is so juicy. That kind of intimacy of the self, because you're not all like trying to compartmentalize life and like hello, get your freak on, get your freak on. So, so yeah, not knowing is the greatest intimacy. It just feels so soft. It feels so feminine, you know? And then taking the action from that inspired, transparent, and open space of not knowing anything. That's presence, though, right? That's presence. That's grace. That's benevolence, right? Hey, OMG, I just made $2. I just made $2. I just made $2. Not I, as in the big ego I, but Ultra Love just made $2. Ultra Love just made $2. So that's great. Hey Scott, how are you? Happy driving. Safe driving, my friend. I think that's it, you guys. I am grateful for the laughter also. And I think that's part of it. I noticed it all along my self-taught yoga meditation journey as a professional. Out over the years, the more I was being asked by the universe to like be in front of people and share the whiz. I noticed making jokes about it. I know this when I started the intuition and the vibrashe and the manipulation. It's that I think there was like this part of me that because I knew what I was sharing was so freaking deep and way deeper than the majority of people want to go, I would make jokes about it. I would try to lighten up. I would try to make people laugh about it because otherwise, what's the frickin' point? Right? I would just, because that was my experience going to ashrams and like going to all these yoga institutions or whatever, and people were like austere and I was like, you know what, if that's the fucking end goal of yoga and meditation, I'm out. But my deeper intuition knew that there was a you know, those were limited experiences, but I knew from the deeper teachings that I was like, surely not. Like, surely this, all this point of spirituality is to be like, oh, to remember our childlike curiosity and awe for life, not to be like all-knowing, serious gurus who must be serious all the time because this is what spirituality looks like. You're like, huh? Also, I knew that in my culture, like I knew going to India, I was like, okay, I can just live in an ashram for the rest of my life. Sweet. But I was like, yeah, but my brothers and sisters, they're back in my culture being programmed by the mainstream media. I need to go back and help. So all of this endeavor is really like navigating ways to make spirituality fun and fresh and funky and cool and relevant for people and not fucking serious and austere, because who needs it? The whole world is too serious and austere, in my opinion, as they are the same, basically profoundly hilarious. Right. That's pretty much what it is, isn't it? I'm like, you just have to make people laugh and get them out of their fucking heads, right? And ultimately, if people can laugh boot, then they're usually having a better time. And then if they're having a better time, they're not in their head trying to fucking control the situation. I got you, Flavia. Morning coffee with you, nothing better than that. Booyakasha! You guys are the best. I just love you so much. I am actually sweating as well right now, I got to say. So, I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate that you're having a good time, because I have a good time with you guys too. And I do, like, it's coffee time, right? And not to mention the wisdom. Oh my gosh, and there's another one. There's another thing that I'm going to share because this came out of my brother-in-law, you guys. So, and this is not meant to offend. Thank you for getting me out of my own head. You're welcome, caterpillar. It's okay. Oh, should I share this? I don't know. It might, some people might even like be offended by it. But this is just something to noodle on in a constructed reality beyond what, like the physical. And this is not me. This is not me who came up with this, okay? This is actually my brother-in-law. Oops, you know when you're writing and you're meant to be writing something, but you say something and then you start to write down what you're saying, what you actually intend to write? Yeah. Second coming. So check this out. How about this for a random noodle-worthy insight? The internet. That which we call the internet on a human collective consciousness level equals, according to my brother-in-law, the second coming of Christ. And then I'm like, oh my God. As an energetic structure, connect via the web in these pathways that are reprogramming our mind via ingesting higher vibrational, more expansive, connected information, light codes. Information is light codes. What is Christ but the light? And then I'm like, the second coming via the internet. I just thought for a moment there, I was like, that is effing genius. A portal. Yeah, I see that too. Hi, Dave. I don't know who Dave is. Is Dave the vision of truth? And do you know, yes, a portal. Okay. You guys, coming before arrival. Okay. This is good. This is worthy of noodling. I'm glad I put it out there. So, internet is a fun, a portal, a bridge of sorts into the one body of Christ. Wow. And then I'm thinking, but it's all the same, isn't it? I'm not Dave. Okay. You're all right there, Dave. Portal to unity contrast through contrast of division. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys. I think that was great. Hi, Scott. I know. See this. I love this community because you all know each other, or not all of you, but like some of you all know each other, and not all of you guys have handles. Interesting. Internet feels like a library to me at times. Yeah, a library of information, not knowing is the intimacy. Ah. I know, look at us. Look at me, noodling away, trying to know what the truth is. And then you're like, you've lost it. You've lost it now because you're trying to know. I'm interested in this. Christ would return in physical form, surely. I don't know. Like, just putting that question out, I'm intrigued. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if that, or if Christ is actually born again within many beings on earth. You know, the bloodline, that timeline of like the bloodline, the Mary Magdalene, and you know. Yeah. Okay, internet is portal for Christ thoughts. You could also just say Christ frequency. Which, again, Christhood to me is just being in the heart and then having choice. Choice is the Christ. And the awakening is having via the beings, right? That gives us the powers the ancient had. I think that could be an aspect, though. The spark inside of us. Christ may be the spark inside of us. That gives us powers the ancients had. Yeah. Hence the ancients with us now, clearing and healing the aspects of division, power over, blame and attack, divide and conquer, so that we are rising in the. So it's like the one and the same. As we see it and recognize, we rise. As we own it and transform it, we rise. Right? We are one and the same as all of that, and yet we are the Christ as well as the other. And all we're doing is choosing the Christ now rather than the crucifixion. Right? We're choosing to rise again rather than kill the prophets, kind of thing. Ooh, isn't it fun to noodle? Isn't it just fiddling? Yep, frequency Christ is the unconditional love of self and other. Yeah. Hence the share, finding the love. That is the body of Christ, is us being able to love it all, no matter what. Huh. So annoying sometimes, isn't it? My God. My understanding is that Christ is present in non-physical within all who choose to align with his purpose. I don't expect to ever see him in the physical. Andrea, I'm with you there. Hence, sometimes when I feel into certain communities who speak the word of God, and yet in my empathic feeling, I feel judgment and self-righteousness, where to me, think again that it's like in the name of Christ, I don't think Christ would have wanted the church to go around and crusade and slaughter, right? I've lost my point a little, but I think you guys might be following me. It's like this idea that like in Christ's name, and I'm like, no, but that's not how Christ lived his life, right? Anywho, I also absolutely love a noodle. I love all of you guys loads and loads and loads. And I hope you have a glorious day. I hope you have a glorious night. And I just cannot wait. I cannot wait to see you guys again very, very soon. I'm sorry, apologies. I'm randomly getting a call at the same time. You guys, I love you loads. And have a gorgeous